to do these Zoom calls. Well, I decided to do these Zoom calls. So my name is Kim Bash, and I'm originally from South Africa. And I've been living in Israel now for the last 18 years, and my Hebrew is still terrible. And I've been working in real estate for the last 10 years. And during the Corona times, a lot of my friends were saying to me, you know, we want to make Aliyah, we want to come, but we can't necessarily afford Jerusalem, and we can't afford the major cities, but we want Anglo communities. So where can we go? So I started to do a bit of investigations and looking into different communities around Eretz Israel and looking where there were soft landing communities, where Anglos had already established communities and they were being successful in those communities. So that's how this whole thing came about. And I'm still selling real estate, but I'm very focused on finding people the right communities, whether it's to secure a home or really to make Aliyah and make Israel your home. So let me just let these people in here. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. Okay, let's get this person in here. So we've been doing every week, we focus on a different community, and it's been absolutely amazing. And it's been very encouraging. People are actually moving to these communities that we are showcasing. So tonight we are doing Hashmonaim, which has also been very popular and on my list of requests from many, many people to do. So I want to start off by saying thank you to those people living in Hashmonaim for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for coming on. And what's going to be is it's going to be a very informal setting. We got the people who are on Hashmonaim, I'm going to ask to unmute yourselves. And at the end, when everybody's introduced themselves and told us a little bit about themselves, I've also got some questions that were sent to me previously by some people who want to know more about the community. And I will probably just address people at random. And then at the very end, we'll have an open answer session for anybody who would like to ask one of the people from Hashmonaim a direct question. At the end of the call, we will also offer information about real estate opportunities, whether it's renting or buying in the area, as well as a chance to make a meeting with myself. If anybody would like a one-on-one conversation with me about Aliyah, about real estate opportunities as well in Israel. So there's a chat box, as you all know, and I'm going to be putting my email address. You can also follow me on Instagram as well as on Facebook. Okay, so I think we're good to go. So I'm going to start off with, we had a great video that we put up about Hashmonaim, and I want to say thank you so much to Briana, who's actually known Briana for many years. And so nice to see you again. And thank you so much. You had like over, I think, 1,000 something views on Facebook on your video that you put up for us. Thank you so much. So I'd like to start off, if you can just introduce yourself, tell us about your family and why you love living in the community.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Briana. I've lived in Israel for 14 years this summer, and we've moved around different communities. We started off in Yerushalayim, we lived in Beit Shemesh, Tel Aviv for 2 years, and Modiin for 5 years. And for the last 5 years, we've been living here in Hashmonaim, and we built a home here just recently. We've been in our new home for 1 year. The reason that we decided to stay in Hashmonaim is we have 5 kids. Our oldest is 11 and our youngest is 1. And it's a beautiful Orthodox community that's closed on Shabbat. That was the main pull for us, that our kids can just run free, mainly on Shabbat. And there are no cars in the community that are going on Shabbat. We're close to Modiin, that's our go-to city. It's about a 10-minute drive away with traffic, usually on a good day. We just love it here. The people are very friendly. It's a very warm, welcoming community. You can get your invited out for Shabbat every Shabbat. Our kids have a lot of friends. They're constantly in and out of each other's homes. And we just love it here. There are a lot of Anglos, a lot of English speakers here. We actually just recently moved to a more Israeli part of the yishuv, and we're loving it.
Great.
Okay.
She brings me up to one of my questions, which is on the list, that one of the questions that were sent in before is if you can tell us a little bit about the different, you know, it's a big place, Hashmonaim. Well, not so big, but tell us about the different communities within Hashmonaim. Like, are there two? There's the Israeli community, the Anglos.
There is, yeah. So it's basically, I mean, if you're really going to be generalizing here, there's like a more Anglo side and there's a more Israeli side. I hope that my fellow Hashmonaim people will agree with me here. And both communities within Hashmonaim are very welcoming. Now that we're in the more Israeli side, we hear a lot more Hebrew here. But again, very, very welcoming and friendly.
Great. And you mentioned that you have 5 children. Are
Yes.
you able to tell me the ages of your children and also where they go to school?
Okay, so our baby is 1. She's home with me now. Then our next one up is 3, or he actually just turned 4, and he's in the Gan here in Hashmonaim. Our next one up is a 7-year-old daughter. She's going to be going to 2nd grade, and she goes in the local, it's called the local Mamad school here. It's the local religious public school here that's on the yishuv, and she can walk to and from school. And then our next 2 boys up are 9 and 11, and we're actually sending them to a school in the nearby, it's outside of Hashmonaim, but it's a school that we feel is more appropriate for them. They were in the school here, and now we're sending them over there. We had one in the school over there already for a year, and now we're moving our other one there for the coming school year, if we actually have a school year.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Briana. We're probably going to come back to you because some people are typing already that they have some questions, and please feel free on the chat. If anybody from Hashmonaim wants to answer the people that are asking questions on the chat, please feel free to do so. So I want to ask, and again, I haven't met everybody. So is Edith on the phone? Epstein?
Hi.
Hi, Edith. How are you?
Good. Hi, everyone. My name is Edith. I've been living in Hashmonaim for, I guess, almost 22 years.
Wow.
We're a mixed marriage, so to speak. I grew up in Israel. I made Aliyah when I was a toddler. My husband, we officially made Aliyah after we got married, and we've been living in Hashmonaim for many years. Our kids are older. My oldest is 25. I have a kid, she's a student. I have an army, a chayal, and then I have a hezdernik, and then an 11th grader. So we've really lived through Hashmonaim from Gan through graduating high school and into the army and university. I just want to make one comment about what Briana mentioned. And I saw there's a question about Anglo side and Israeli side. I'm not sure that's a correct way of defining Hashmonaim as sides. I think the community here is very mixed. We do have Israelis and we have Anglos, we have Sfardi community, we have Ashkenazi community, we have more from, it's not really like the community is geographically divided into sides. There may be some streets with a little more concentration of Anglos or Israelis, but it really is mixed all over. So there isn't the Anglo side if you want to move into Hashmonaim. There isn't an Anglo side. There's Anglos everywhere. We're very loud. Everybody hears English a lot, but there's definitely a lot of Israelis and a lot of people from varied kind of background and religious. There's a variety, which is, I think, the wonderful thing about Hashmonaim, that there really is a variety of people. It's a wonderful, warm community, and that is, I think, its biggest pull.
Do you work?
Yes, I do, but I have my own business. I work from home.
Okay. And in terms of, if you're an Anglo and you don't speak any Hebrew, is that a problem?
As far as working or as far as living here?
Just getting around and living. Is there enough English around for people to get by?
Well, in Hashmonaim or in the area in general, you definitely can get by with English. You hear English spoken a lot. If you go to the makolet, if you go to the school, there definitely is a lot of English spoken. I think that may be sometimes a little of a problem because people may not make enough of an effort to speak more in Hebrew, because it's very easy to get away and get by with just speaking English. So, but at the same time, it is easy for someone who's make Aliyah. You do feel comfortable. It is easy to be part of the community, be part of what's going on. There's usually messages of the community are translated into both Hebrew and English. So even messages from the school, I believe, but there definitely is a support system for Anglos making Aliyah.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to go now to Rafi.
Hi everyone. So my name is Rafi Shulman. I've been living in Hashmonaim for about 5 years. We moved from New Jersey, primarily because my sister Lara was there as well. With her family lived here and we wanted to be together. But one of the things that I loved about Israel is that it reminded me of my childhood. I grew up here about 25 years ago. We lived in Rehovot. And Israel back then was a very different country and much more laid back. And when we came to visit Hashmonaim, I fell in love with the country again because I saw the kids walking around. I saw the kids biking. In fact, when we came here, we went out for Sukkot, and one of our daughters was in first grade, and the people we went to visit, the daughter who was in second grade said, "Let's go sukkah hopping," and we'll go. They hopped from sukkah to sukkah, and they came back at 10 o'clock at night, and no one thought twice about it. It was fine. It was great, and for us, that's a big part of why we love living here, is because for the kids, there's an opportunity to be so independent. They can come and go. They can do. They close the yishuv on Shabbat, so you really feel that special Shabbat feeling. And like Briana said, it's a small yishuv, but it's near Modiin. When I first made Aliyah, I lived in Tel Aviv, and so it's easy to get into Tel Aviv and easy to go to Yerushalayim. So it's kind of in the middle. And so from our point of view, from myself, from my wife, and our 4 kids, it's really been an amazing kind of experience. And it helped that there's a lot of Anglos. My oldest was 10, and then our other kids were younger. And so it was very much a soft landing when we got here. And the support for them in school was really good. So for a number of factors, we've really loved it here. And, I think for many people, it's a great place to be.
And Rafi, where do your kids go to school? On the yishuv?
So they do. So our 2 oldest are 2 boys, 15 and 13. They go to Ner Tamid, which is the yeshiva here. And then my older daughter actually goes to another school, which is about 5 minutes away. And then my youngest one is in Gita Aleph in the school here. And so they really have, we've been very happy with the schools, thank God. And, it's been a great experience for our kids.
Do a lot of people go out of Hashmonaim to schools?
So the girls, when they get past 6th grade, when they get into 7th grade, they have to go out of the yishuv because they don't have an option here. So there's a number of schools in the neighborhood. There are some girls that go to Modiin and Nyland. Some go to Yerushalayim. And so a lot of it depends on the kid and what the parents are looking for. So there are options. I would say most of the kids stay on the yishuv, but there is a decent percentage who go to different schools based on what the kids are interested in, what they feel most comfortable in.
And in terms, somebody asked a question here, and maybe somebody else will answer later on, but in terms of the demographics of the area, is it very mixed? Young families, retirees?
It is a mix in that there's the older generation people that moved here, I would say 20, 25 years ago, that are now in their 60s, and they're still living here and they've built a community, and so you have that generation. And then there are younger couples, again, the younger couples that are coming here either because their parents are here or the grandparents are here to help out, and so they're moving here. They typically are renting. So there is a nice mix between, you know, the younger families who are in their late 20s, early 30s, and have maybe 1 or 2 kids. You know, and so yeah, you do have a mix of those, both Israelis and Americans.
Do you find that the children move out of Hashmonaim when they get older and marry, or do they stay on the yishuv?
So a little bit of both, but it is expensive to buy here. And so for a young couple starting out, there are a number of people that will move out, you know, moving up north, moving south, or to the periphery where it's more affordable. So, you know, that is one issue that, you know, if you think about moving to Modiin, into Hashmonaim, you have to keep in mind. Now, it is a lot more affordable than some of the cities, Modiin, Tel Aviv, Yerushalayim, like you mentioned. But for younger couples that are starting out, that is a challenge that they have to think through. And, you know, those that can't afford it will move out, especially if the kids are still young. It's not so much of an issue with schools, and so they'll look for areas that are more affordable for them. But there's still good deals here, and so, you know, it really depends on everyone's budget and what they're looking for, of course.
Great, thank you so much.
Sure, of course.
Is Sharon on the phone? Is she on the call?
Me? Yeah.
Oh, hi, Sharon. Oh, and
Hi.
and Akiva, right?
Right.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
So do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose to live on the yishuv?
So let's see, we chose the yishuv at the very end of 2004. So when we looked at it, it was actually a little different than it is now, but it gave us a feeling that it still gives us of a simpler time. I mean, Rafi, you mentioned what it was like to grow up here, that it reminded you of growing up here. It kind of reminded me of growing up in upstate New York in the 70s. You know, just a little bit simpler, a little bit more low key. And we're both from upstate New York, and we both just really felt at home and sort of out of town, if anyone can relate to that expression. We're both physicians. We both have found work here. We're very happy. Our kids range in age from 18 to 11. We have 3 boys and 1 girl. They've all gone to school here on the yishuv. The youngest one, who's a girl, will have to leave the yishuv after next year, but we've been very happy with the yeshiva here near Tamid. What else can we?
I'm a pediatrician. I actually have hours on the yishuv, a few hours on the yishuv. I mostly work in Beit Shemesh. There is a clinic on the yishuv, Klalit. There are actually 4 health funds in Israel, if you've heard of. There's Klalit, there's Maccabi, Meuchelet, and Leumit. Right now, Klalit has a practice. Actually, I think Meuchelet also has a practice on the yishuv. But it doesn't matter what health fund you're in, you can go to find offices anywhere, 5 minutes away in Kiryat Sefer, many in Modiin. But some people choose to come here. It's a small office. It's nice. I do a few hours a week here, and it's really an amazing community from my perspective. There's a lot of chesed that's being done here. A lot of people really helping each other out in a very respectful and beautiful way. That's what I like the most about it. It's just really just good people doing good things for people. A lot of learning going on here, and it's a great chevra. It's a great chevra, both the Americans and the Israelis. I go to a shul, Rimon, which is, I would say, maybe 70% Israeli, maybe 30% American. Maybe it's a little more American now, but I have friends that are both Israeli and Americans. I feel very comfortable hanging out with everyone. And it's a very friendly place. People are really good people, really, really good people. And I'm proud that I live here, and it's been a great place to raise my kids. It's a great place to be.
Somebody's asking on the chat, is there a dentist on the yishuv?
There are dentists on the yishuv. So, one of the dentists has a practice right on the yishuv, and another one has a practice in Modiin, not far away. Dentistry has changed a lot in Israel in the last 5 to 10 years, in the sense that the kupot, the health funds, now also have dentistry as part of their system. So the private dentists, there are fewer. People used to say, oh, go into dentistry because that'll do really well. In Israel, it's private. That's changed a little bit because the kupot now have dentists as well. Although sometimes you still want your private dentist and someone you know and who's going to do a good job. You always know you're getting the kupot. But there is a practice on the yishuv. There is a dentist on the yishuv, and also not so far away.
Did you, when you mentioned, did you both are physicians? Did you both have to do your licenses and do exams when you came to Israel?
I did not have to do any licensing exams at all because I was fully licensed in the States. I had to do 3 months in the hospital. I was at Shira Tjong. It was a very good experience for me. Helped me learn the system, learn medical Hebrew, which I didn't know so well. But I started working pretty much 6 months after I made Aliyah. Sharon had a little different story. So.
My experience was different. When we first moved, I was commuting back to the States every few months for the first year. And then I took another year where I was home trying to get myself and everybody else settled. And then I did have to go back into the hospital for a year. I'm an ophthalmologist, and we all have to do another year of, it's basically like residency. And because I hadn't finished my exam in the States and I had taken that time to make Aliyah and bring everybody over, I did have to do my exams here in Hebrew. But most people, if you come over fully licensed from the States, it depends on your specialty. Ophthalmologists all have to do 1 year in a hospital. And then I started working also for Kupat Cholim for Klalit, where Akiva is in Beit Shemesh. And now I'm also working in Modiin in a smaller private practice.
Sharon, can I ask you a question? I'm a registered sorry, I have no, sorry about that. I'm a registered dietitian, and I'm just wondering, you might not know, but I thought I'd ask anyway, since you're a medical professional. Do they have like dietitians in the hospitals?
I think they do.
They have in the
should,
hospitals.
right?
You would know more than I do.
Yeah, they have in the hospitals and in Kupot Cholim. They definitely have a lot of dietitians here. I don't know how well they get paid, but they do, and I think people do private also. Pretty much in everything you have, obviously the public health, but you also always have private things. People are always looking for something private, especially Americans. It's hard for any new olim community, whether they're from France or from America. People want someone who speaks their language, literally their language, both the language itself and also just culturally certain references. So people are willing to pay for that sometimes because they want to feel comfortable. There are definitely jobs in the public sphere.
Would I have to change my registration? Like, would I have to take a new exam, or you wouldn't know about that?
I don't know for dietitians. Yeah. Every single field is different. I'm not sure, but you can find that out through Nefesh.
Where do people find out about this kind of thing? Like
Nefesh B'Nefesh. Nefesh B'Nefesh is very well informed.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry.
No, not a problem. It's on my list of a lot of people asking me, nurses, the dentistry, etc. So we have a lot to look into, and I think it does depend on a number of different factors. I want to ask, are the waxmans on the call? Is Shifi on the call? I'm not sure who's joining us. Is she on? Shifi, I don't know if she's on. Okay, we'll come back to Shifi. Lara.
There's David. David's on.
Oh, David's on. Okay.
David's on.
Oh, David's on? Okay. David.
David, you're muted.
You're muted.
Hold on. Unmute. I'll unmute. Oh, there you go.
Now I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It said shifra waxman. I said hi, David. Okay.
Hi. Nice to meet all you guys. And so much has been said already about Hashmonaim. I would just add one thing. We're here 17 years. We've got 5 children, ranging from age 20, almost 25, down to bar mitzvah. And so similar to edith, we've been through the whole educational cycle here. And edith covered that already, and and so much has already been covered. I would add just a couple of things that I hadn't heard mentioned. One is that there is really a tremendous amount of shiurim here, and now we're of course in virtual mode, but we have shiurim, from a wide variety of very, very strong Talmidei Chachamim here, both in English and in Hebrew. And there's a chabur on Monday nights and a regular shiur. There's basically shiurim, every night of the week for any sort of topic or style that people enjoy. There's also daf yomi, multiple daf yomis, every day, multiple minyanim. I should also add, again, in Corona it's a little different, but typically, so everybody can find the spot, for yadut and learning and dat, if they so like. There's shiur for men and for women. There's also matan here, as well. I think it's once or twice a week in the mornings. I would also add, for people that enjoy, sports and physical fitness, biking, basketball, whatever it might be, there's tremendous opportunity, especially biking here in our area. Ben Shemin Forest is very close by. People jogging all the time on Saturday night. Right at the Shabbat, the streets are filled with people, jogging. It's a beautiful, we have beautiful views here. And, those are just a couple of things that I thought hadn't yet been covered. I would just summarize one last thing, is that when we moved here 17 years ago, we never could have dreamed what an incredibly great decision that was for our kids, for ourselves, for our family. And exponentially, I would say it was the best thing we've ever done in our lives by a factor of, I can't even measure it, 100 maybe, 200, 1,000. So whoever is on the grill for whatever, about considering coming or not, especially the Hashmonaim, again, everyone's experience is a little different, but ours, for whatever it's worth, has been beyond extremely positive.
Wonderful. Somebody's asking about the safety of the yishuv. Would you like to address that, David?
I'm sorry, about the what?
Safety.
I'm sorry.
Safety.
Safety. Actually, you mentioned that. I guess we could break safety down into two different things. One is, internal, let's call it, potential risk of theft or anything like that. So in the early years when we were here, there were, some issues with that. But they were addressed probably around 12, 13 years ago for the most part, when they increased the, the lighting, in yishuv, and patched, dealt with some upgraded, I guess, all the infrastructure as far as cameras and that sort of thing. So that's basically, for the most part, I'd say 99%, gone away. The other issue, of course, is, and perhaps, I may be able to speak a little bit about this, but as you may know, the yishuv is located in between the Green Line and where Yehuda v'Shomron officially, begins. It was no man's land between 48 and 67. It's privately owned. It was privately owned land, which was sold off, which was purchased in a standard real estate transaction, commercial real estate transaction, that is 100%, secure as far as ownership is concerned. And, I'm just going to plug in the laptop here. From a safety perspective, we've never had, thank God, or Hashem, any terror incidents at all here. We have regular security, company that, is constantly, both guarding, we live effectively in a high-end gated, mid to high-end gated community, if you want to compare it to the States, with security and a security van that goes around the security road, as well as.
We lost you. We lost David. Anyway, David's gone. Okay. We're going to move on to Lara. Hi, Lara.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. You're talking about safety, and my little girl just comes and she goes, someone just came in the house. Someone just came in the house. I go downstairs. My husband's best friend just walked in. I'm like, who comes in the house here? Hi, everyone. I'm Lara Itzhaki. Sorry, I have to just take a deep breath. We've been here almost 10 years. We are, as edith said, we are so a mixed family. My husband's Israeli. I'm a mixed South African, Israeli, and American. We have 5 kids, ranging from, we have 2 older boys, a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and then 3 girls. I see a lot of people asking about teenager life here. So I think that The teens here have the most amazing life. It is similar in some ways to what I had as a child, what Rafi was talking about when we were kids in Rehovot. Kids walk around here, they come home. We don't want to say what time they come home, because then whatever, but everyone feels very, very safe here. There's a lot of things for the kids to do, whether it's being part of Bnei Akiva, whether it's, there's actually a program for the teens called the Noir. Right now they're having a wonderful Ketana, a camp going on with amazing things going on. They do special things, they do chesed, the kids do, they do programs that are incredible. The teens here are the ones that run the programs for Yom Ha'atzmaut, for Yom HaZikaron. That was one of the things that to me was so inspiring. They get such values here. I love the values that the kids get from the teachers here, from the schools here. Our two boys went to Nil Tamid. They both had great Rabbanim. I find the Rosh Hashiva to be a very special person. Our oldest, when he went to Poland, had the Rosh Hashiva had never left Israel because he never wanted to leave Israel, and he went with them to Poland. It was just an amazing experience. A lot of the teachers in elementary school we've been very happy with. Our oldest, we have a daughter that's here in elementary school, and then our two daughters that are, one's in 7th and one's in 10th. The one in 7th grade is in Niriyah. When you finish elementary school, the boys can stay here in the yishuv if they'd like to. The girls have options. There's a school in Aliyah, which is a yishuv close by to us. It's about 20 minutes bus ride. Then there's a few schools in Modiin that girls go to. One of our oldest daughter goes to. There's a Mith and Ulpana. Then some kids go to Chorev in Yerushalayim. So there's a lot of options. There really are a lot of options. Somebody mentioned, maybe David, I think you mentioned, there's lots of sports going on here. Our boys were into baseball when they first arrived, and then they became more Israeli and they played basketball. Then they went back over to football with the Epsteins and with the waxmans, and there's lots to do. There really is. The kids have a most amazing life, really, for us, compared to what they had in New Jersey. The weather and just being so confined, and here they can do so much by themselves. Busing to Jerusalem. My 7th grader went on a bus yesterday not yesterday, 3 days ago to Jerusalem, there and back. So from that point of view, they have the life. And for us, they really are wonderful people here, both English speakers, Hebrew speakers. As I think Akiva said, lots of chesed, very good people doing a lot of chesed, a lot of caring. I was just quarantined because I was next to a friend that was tested positive, and so many people reached out and what can I do and how can they help, and incredible. So Baruch Hashem, we're very happy where we are, and hope to stay here for a long time.
There's a few questions on the chat. How far is Jerusalem? How long does it take you to get to Jerusalem? The internal buses, do you need a car? Can you answer some of those questions?
Sure. So I think Edith did right before. It is easier to have a car, but that being said, there's buses outside of our yishuv to Jerusalem every few minutes. The bus probably takes, again, depending if it's rush hour or not, but by car from us to Jerusalem, when it's not rush hour, could take about 30 minutes. The girls that go by bus to Chorev, again, it depends when, but maybe it takes them 45 minutes, I'm thinking. There's busing also outside the yishuv to Bet Shemesh. There's into Modiin. There's to Bnei Brak. And then there's buses from here, or the kids take trampim from inside of the yishuv to Modiin. And then they go on trains anywhere. They go on trains or on buses. They get everywhere. So it is easy to get around, definitely.
It comes into the yishuv to pick people up, or you have to walk outside the yishuv to get onto a bus?
There are, I believe, 2 buses. There's a 27 that I think goes into Modiin. My kids could answer this better than me. I don't know if anyone from the yishuv knows, any of the parents, but the kids for sure would. There's, I think, 2 main buses. One goes, I believe, to Kiryat Sefer, the neighborhood closest to us, an ultra-Orthodox neighborhood that has supermarkets, bakeries, religious stores. We go there for our dentists, doctors, as well as going to Modiin. And then another bus that I think goes It's internal, but I think it goes to the mall. And then just outside of the yishuv, it's a 5 or 10 minute walk, depending where you live. Just outside, there's a bus station, which takes you, as I said, to Jerusalem, Bet Shemesh, Bnei Brak. And you can also go 5 minutes out of Hashmonaim to Tzomet Shilat. You can take a bus from Ayush to Tzomet Shilat, and from there you can take buses, I think, to pretty much everywhere in the country.
And people coming in and out. Is there a security guard at the front of the yishuv?
Yes, there is a security. There is a fence all around the yishuv, and there's what's called the kitat konenut, there's a security around the yishuv. They drive around, and there is someone that looks at everyone when they come into the yishuv. I feel very safe here. There is an Arab village just outside of a yishuv, but you don't have to drive through it to get into Hashmonaim. It's like after us, and thank God, I don't know. I feel very, very safe here, as do my kids.
Great. Okay, thanks, Lara. We're gonna go to, hi, Shira. Hi. Shira is an old friend of mine. I'm so glad to see you.
Hi there, Kim.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know you were working very late.
So I can answer the exercise questions. I see some people wrote. So there is no swimming pool. Yeah, there is no swimming pool here. Somebody asked if there's gyms. There are gyms. I don't know if it was covered that in Hashmonaim itself, there are 2 different areas, a back area called Modiin and a front area called Ramat. I signed in late, so I'm sorry if it was already mentioned. There is a gym down below in Modiin, separate hours, the studio and a gym. And then in the front of Ramat, there's also a full studio that 2 residents here opened. In addition to that, me as an exercise teacher, I teach my own classes privately in people's homes that have small groups. And there are a few other, I could think of 4 exercise teachers probably that do Pilates or yoga, that we have different small groups that we offer. I think there's one yoga for men and women mixed. Otherwise, most of them pretty separate.
And tell us about yourself. You're from New York? Where are you from originally?
No, I'm originally from California. There's very few of us from California.
I met you in New York. Sorry, I met you in New York.
I did live in New York for 6 years. I came to Israel. Kim and I were in seminary together. I met my husband in seminary in Jerusalem. I have been in Hashmonaim now for 11 years, close to Lara. Moved here from Jerusalem after not succeeding in finding a new neighborhood that was affordable and that could provide for a growing family. At the time, it was a good time to come through Hashmonaim, and we found a rental. So I'm a renter, 3rd-time renter here. Always somehow I can find a house to rent. Not very easy, but you can find. There are more and more people, I feel like, leaving and moving for whatever reasons. So there is availability. My kids are very happy here. They range from 3 to 14. My street that I live on now, I live in the back area. I used to live in the front area, is very, very social. Kids till about 7 at night just ride their bikes freely. They kind of go into each other's homes and play. There's no setups for play dates. It's very, you could say Israeli hefker or free, but it's very casual. We all have each other's phone numbers to say, if a child is here, but everybody is like a family of one another here on my street. It's very, very friendly. What else can I tell you? They're very happy here. My kids do not go to school locally. They go outside, like Lara mentioned, in Shilat, and they've also go to Shalavim, which is inside Modiin, on the outskirts of Modiin. We either carpool or there's buses that go there, but it's about 15 to 20 minutes, so it's not terrible. And there's other people in the community that go, so you can always find a carpool. So you have your options of different schools.
And do the kids have a lot of friends that go to the same school as them on the yishuv, or not really?
No, I think B'nai Akiva is very important. And if you don't want to go B'nai Akiva, there's Ariel also, depending on your type of community within our yishuv. But they all do have friends. Even if it's one of my children has, he's 7, he has 2 friends, but they're very good friends. They basically are my other children that are here all the time. And he doesn't go to school here, and he's very social where he goes to school. So and he's not in B'nai Akiva. So just by where you live, just good neighbors, just kids who have the same age. Somebody asked, is there a Kahila WhatsApp group? I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in on that one. I know where I live in Ganei Modiin, they are in the midst of trying to start more of a community based, especially for women, to bring women and children more involved. Here, I think it's based more on each individual shul where you go. And there are many, many shuls. So depending on what your shul is and where you're involved in is more of your kahila. There's not just, I don't believe, and maybe I don't know because I'm not in it, I don't believe there's just one WhatsApp though. There is a WhatsApp group for the whole yishuv that you would get notifications or sales, or if someone has corona or somebody died, there is that. But I think each kahila, each shul might have their own group. How many shuls are there? Wow. I'm gonna go with 10 to 15. And they range from Ashkenazi, Sfardi, Temani. You have Nate minions, you have the 8 o'clock minions. We also have a Chabad here, so that's the later minion. You have every kind. Where I live, there's even Streimels. It's on the scale, it's everything. I mean, I'm sure it was already said, we're a closed yishuv and we're religious yishuv, but we have everything. You see everything here, and all age groups.
You moved from Modiin, right? You were in Modiin before?
No, we were in Jerusalem. We looked in Modiin, and I'll tell you why I liked Hashmonaim is because the variety. I felt Modiin, and I'm not saying this negative to anybody else who might be interested in Modiin. It was a little too cookie cutter for me. Everything kind of looked too, it's a very planned city and people love that. I liked the diversity coming here to Hashmonaim. I liked where I live in Ganei that there were hills. I liked that it looked very different. It reminded me more of California than Modiin kind of reminded me of Florida. No insults taken.
No. Okay, great. So I'm going to ask the next question. Is Yael on the call? Is Yael on? I don't think she's on.
I don't think she is. I didn't see her.
No, she hasn't come on. Okay, I'll see where she is. So what I'm going to do is, David, you're back. Where's David? I saw he came on again. Has he disappeared?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Do you want to? You were in the middle of. I don't know where we ended up, but do you want to finish what you were saying?
Yeah, there wasn't much more that I was going to share, except I think it was covered by Lara that it is indeed, thank God, very safe here. We've had no, incidents at all. There was one attempted incident in the 17 years, that I've been here. So it's a very safe community. We're 5-minute drive before 10-minute drive, before traffic from Modiin. We're 5 minutes or so from Kiryat Sefer. We have kind of the best of both worlds here. We live effectively in the countryside, but just 5 to 10 minutes from a major, metropolitan area, Modiin, and very convenient shopping, in both those places. Shilat, also a lot of shopping just 5 minutes away. So we kind of get the feeling of, both being in the country and very suburban type of environment, as well as, just a few minutes away from, a metropolitan environment. So that's pretty much the ground I was going to cover. Hope that's helpful.
There's a few questions about what's happening on the yishuv. I know there's one pizza place. Is that correct? And I'm a college.
That's right. Yeah. There is one pizza shop. There's a makolet, which is very, very fully stocked with, both Israeli and American products, all the brands that you're familiar with. Many of them are there. And the Makolet guy who runs Makolet, Dudu, is a great guy, and he's always open to special requests as well if needed. So you can pretty much get everything you need on the yishuv. But today you can order online, groceries very easily. There's delivered from all the major, most of the major, online deliveries, supermarket chains, Supersol, Rami Levy. So we personally do online ordering for most of our shopping, most of our groceries, and we fill in, from the Makolet. So you can pretty much get everything you need, I'd say, within a 15-minute drive, radius, if not, closer.
Great. Unfortunately, Yael, who is one of our partners that we work with in real estate, she's unable for some reason. She's having technical issues and she can't get on the phone call right now. So I work with Yael as well about the real estate options in Hashmonaim. And anybody who has questions, you can direct them to me on my email. I'm going to put it out there, Kim, K-I-M-L Bash, B-A-S-H @gmail.com. I'll put it on the chat. And also find me on Facebook. You can send me a message. But from my understanding, I have been to Hashmonaim. It's a beautiful place. There are lots of houses. There are houses, and the rentals range depending on, and please, those who live there, please correct me. It really depends on the location of the house, and also if it's a newer house, an older house, and rentals can range from 8,000 to 11,000 shekels a month from my understanding. You can chime in, everybody. And buying options, again, it really depends on what it is, but anything from between, I'm giving an approximation here, but from 2.5 million shekels up to 4 million shekels, even more expensive than that. So there's some very beautiful houses, basements, attics. A lot of people will rent out their basement to younger families. But maybe one of you can help me out here. Rafi, Lara, you can give me some guidelines here, because I was hoping Yael would be on the call.
Yeah, sure. So rentals, as you said, there are some places that are even less than 8,000. Again, it depends on what part of the yishuv you want to rent. But I would say a good price range is somewhere between 8 and 11. And then buying also, I would say, as you said, probably you could get some houses that are older, smaller for 2.75 in that neighborhood. And then I would say for a house that is probably around 330 square meters, that was built within the past 10 years, is probably going to go for about 3.3 to 3.4 million shekel. Of course, you can get single homes that go for a lot more, but that is kind of, will give everyone a good sense of, of what the rates go for. And if it helps in terms of, in terms of mortgages, it really, fluctuates based on what you're putting down. But if, I would say you can budget somewhere in a neighborhood of around 9,000-10,000 shekel a month for a house that is going for about 3.2, 3.3, assuming that you're putting it down about 30-35%. So, that changes, of course, based on all the mortgages and things like that. But if you're looking to budget, rentals are around 8,000 to 11,000 a month. And if you're buying, it'd probably be in that similar price range if you're putting down about 30% or more on a house.
I just want to interject. Sometimes you can find a house for rent in Ganei between 6 and 7. You can, if you're lucky.
Okay. Yael was telling me there's this big, beautiful house she sent me today that when these things come on the market, they last sometimes days and then they're gone already. So it seems sometimes the rentals go from one family to another in the yishuv as families get, larger. So it seems that things are in quite high demand. One thing I did notice when I came there, I was very impressed how big and spacious everything. You had proper backyards. Coming from Yerushalayim, I actually live in the old city, so we don't get much green, if any. So it was just impressive to see really big houses and lots of space, and felt just very like normal living for those people coming from outside, from America, Canada, South Africa, are used to bigger houses. So are there any questions? I'm just going to go through my list of anybody who was answering, who had sent me a list of the questions. Somebody's asking if there's a local post office in Hashmonaim.
There is just a small post office that's open every day. Well, they just changed it because of Corona. I think it used to be open every morning for an hour, and then in the evenings, maybe every other day. But that's just to pick up your post. If you need to send out, I would either go to Kiryat Sefer, which again is a 5-minute drive, or else in Modiin. And someone was also asking about the mall. So the closest mall is in Modiin, which is without traffic, probably less than 10-minute drive. There's a post office there, pharmacy, everything that you would need. So yeah, so you can pick up your post, your mail here on the yishuv. But to send stuff out, you would have to go out of the yishuv.
Is there like in terms of Anglos, is there more like people from America that are on the yishuv? Would you say it's predominantly like, I know there's a few South Africans. Is it just very mixed from different areas? I mean, different international.
You can find certain pockets of people, but the predominant is definitely American, and I'd say definitely East Coast. Yes, there are UKs here, and their UKs are great. We have UK, we have Brazilian. Help me out, guys.
A few Scottish, a few Indian, a few.
You have a lot of Yemenites. You have Moroccans, Australians, even Russians.
French people.
You have everything. It's
very few Russians.
It's a kibbutz galiyot. I mean, it's an amazing place. It is predominantly, in terms of the people from outside of Israel, predominantly from America and Canada. But there's certainly people from everywhere. It makes it a lot of fun, actually. And been in people's houses, different traditions they have. And it's people are very friendly and love sharing their traditions. It's a very nice. It's nice for the kids to see something new.
Do they have like on a Shabbos a community like Kiddush at all in some of the local shuls?
The more American shul called Glenwood, I think, has a official Kiddush like 4 times a year, I think. But then obviously there are Kiddushim for Smachot. At our shul at Rimon, they always have a Kiddush twice a year for the new recruits for the army to sort of honor them, and there'll always be Kiddushim for let's say after Simchas Torah. They'll have the Chatan Breshit and Chatan Torah, throw a Kiddush sometimes. They always find a reason to have a Kiddush, but it's not something that's every single week, which I actually like. I think that the Kiddush culture gets a little out of hand sometimes, so it's once maybe, people have all Kiddushes in their homes for their own private smachot. There's enough around, but it's not like every single week. So.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the floor. So anybody who wants to ask questions, be free to unmute yourself. Let's look on the chat box if anybody.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Jessica.
Hi. So I'm Jessica Stockman from Las Vegas, and I visited Hasmonaim some years ago with my son, just driving through. We were looking for, communities, whatever, but I just want to share with the group that it felt, just driving, it felt very normal. Like people aren't honking at you at every stop sign. There's, very polite and friendly and waiting. And so it's just just driving through, I can tell you, it was a nice feel. And yes, and I want to thank everybody in Hasmonaim for taking the time to be here and answer all of our questions.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Rafi is going to also, I partner with 2 very special people on this call. Rafi and Lara, who run an amazing organization called Olim Advisors. So it's going to be a little bit of a repeat for those who've been on the call before, but I'd like them to share, I don't know who's going to talk, Rafi or Lara, just a little bit about what they do.
So I'm the older one, so I'll go first. So thanks, Kim, for organizing this. And I've been on a number of these Zoom calls, and I think it's amazing just to answer people's questions. And really, we know from personal experience how daunting and overwhelming the whole Aliyah experience can be, especially if you're trying to figure it out from abroad. And so about 5 years ago, Lara and I got together and we said, let's try and help people that are thinking about making Aliyah. Let's see if we can really help them with the practical challenges and help them find communities and homes and schools and things like that. And so the first thing that we did is we spoke to Nefesh B'Nefesh, and we asked them if there's a need for this, and if there is this something that they do. And so they said there's absolutely a need to give people this guidance, and it's not something that they really focus on. And so that's one of the common questions that we get is how are we different from Nefesh B'Nefesh? And that's, in essence, the difference is that Nefesh B'Nefesh is amazing in getting you through the bureaucracy, getting you approved, the Jewish agency, they do all that. But when it comes to the practical challenges that you have, like finding a community, like finding a home, like shipping, things that you have to do beforehand. And then once you get you, reality kind of sinks in, and then you have to go to the bank, you have to go to Misrad HaKlita, Misrad HaPnim, you have to set up utilities. And so there's a number of things that are challenging and frustrating and time consuming. And so that's really the essence of what we do, is that from the moment you sign up, which typically is from 6 months to a year before you make Aliyah, all the way through 6 months to a year after you make Aliyah, we're here to guide you through the process, to answer your questions. If you want to make a doctor's appointment, besides introducing you to Akiba and Sharon, we can introduce you to other people as well, other doctors, and really help you navigate the system. If you have kids and they need special help, ulpan, or whatever the case may be, we're really here to make this experience a lot less stressful, a lot less daunting, and really make your klita very seamless. And so what I'll do is I'll just put in our contact information in the chat so you can reach out to Lara, myself. We're happy to talk to anyone about making Aliyah, whether or not you end up using our services or not. We just love helping people make this decision. And every time one of our clients makes Aliyah, we feel like we're going through the experience again. And it's just so exciting and inspiring to do that. And so if there's anything that we can do to help you, any questions that you have, just feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Thank you so much. I want to just add in another reason I started doing these calls is that my parents, they actually made Aliyah in their 70s. And they had come from living in South Africa all their lives, and it wasn't easy for them to come. But they came because they were idealistic, they were Zionists. They felt that, it was, especially having grandchildren, they didn't want to be once a year grandparents. So we were very blessed to have them living next to me in the old city for 5 years. Unfortunately, they both passed away this year. So this series of Aliyah and finding communities of people is in their merit. And I think that anybody who can make a change in their 70s, I think anybody can do it. And another thing, Israel is so diverse. There are so many wonderful places available for people. So please continue to join us on these calls. And if anybody would like me to showcase a particular community, please don't hesitate to contact me privately. We are next week going to be doing Yamim, which is in Netanya. It's also a more newer neighborhood with a lot of Anglos. And our focus is to find Anglos. And even for those people who really want to be integrated into a more Israeli neighborhood, that's not because of anything against that, just that's not really what we're doing here. We're trying to find a soft landing for people because it is very difficult to come into a place where nobody speaks the same language. It's not just the language, it's people, like-minded people like yourselves. So we try and find where there is at least a 20% Anglo-speaking population of people. So please feel free to reach out to me. We're going to be doing Yamim next week, as I said. Then we're going to be doing Rehovot. Then we're going to go up north. I think we're going to go to Haifa. I'm not sure yet. We play it by ear depending on the demand of what is out there. What I also just want to add in, and maybe Lara and Rafi, maybe Lara, you can add in A lot of people ask me now, you know, what's going on in America or abroad? You can't get to Israel right now. So some just practical tips that people thinking of Aliyah right now, what can they do to prepare themselves? What do they need to do?
So the first thing is, if you are coming from North America or the UK, is to contact Nefesh B'Nefesh. If you haven't done so, you have to fill out the application, and there's a list of documents that you need to get. And unfortunately, because of COVID right now, it is not as easy to get some of the documentation. So that's definitely something that I would do. There is a time frame involved, and it's important that you speak to Nefesh B'Nefesh and the Jewish Agency to understand. Everyone needs to do a background check now, which is only valid for 6 months. So it's important to know when to do that. And really to reach out to the representatives. And if you don't get an answer or you're getting stuck, you can definitely reach out to us, but they are the first step. We only come into the picture once people are processed and once people have handed in all their paperwork. There's, you know, as much as we have contacts here with the different government offices, you do have to go through step by step and hand in everything. But just try to plan as early as you can, as soon as you can. And as I said, understand the timing, because there's a certain timing for when you get your Aliyah visa, for how long that's for. So get all those answers from Nefesh B'Nefesh or the Jewish Agency. There's a global center for the Jewish Agency. And as my brother said, if you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to us, whether you sign up or not. We speak to people all day long. We try to help as much as we can. Again, the bureaucracy on that end is not anything that we can really help with. People all the time are calling us and you know, how can you help us with getting the paperwork done? Unfortunately, some of the offices are not open yet. So that's just a waiting, you know, unfortunately. But as soon as that is, as soon as you get everything, go through, speak to the Jewish Agency, wait to get your interview, and then hopefully you'll be on your way to coming here. Even if you have to quarantine, people are very upset that they have to quarantine for 14 days. I tell them all the time, it's worth it. I just finished quarantine, it's fine. Not easy, but you get through it.
Well, I have a few clients coming in now, and they basically, those who are lucky to have Israeli passports and able to get here, they are going to quarantine for 2 weeks and then basically stay for their holiday and then go back into quarantine in America. Just some practical tips that I've been telling people what I think is important to do. If Aliyah is seriously on the cards, I would start also learning Hebrew online.
Right.
As much as you can. There's so many amazing programs for your children as well to listen to, YouTube videos as well. And also in terms of downsizing, getting rid of all the stuff in the house. You know, a lot of people are saying they've got so much stuff, they need to start packing up and selling. And I think that takes a lot of time. So these are just practical things that I would start doing as soon as possible. So I also think a lot of people are asking me from a property perspective, the market in Israel is incredibly strong. I am very, very busy with people who are either trying to secure a house in Israel or who are actually making Aliyah. People are, believe it or not, buying things unseen. And what that means is they're sending their brothers, sisters, uncles, you name it, to look at properties with me, which is something I've really done. Usually we do that when we're selling, you know, off-plan projects which aren't built yet, which we have investors that do that. So it's definitely changed the market. But Israeli real estate is strong. It's a solid investment. And I'm happy to let anybody, you know, anybody can reach out to me. Unfortunately, I said Yael's not on the call, but if Hashmonaim is a place that you want to look into, please feel free to contact me. And if everybody on the call from Hashmonaim is open to having people contact them that are on this call, please put your information on the chat so that people can contact you. I'm not sure, is there a Hashmonaim Nefesh B'Nefesh rep, or is there somebody there that's a point person, or is it just, I'm not sure. Is there anybody that people need to contact directly, or people are open to getting calls or emails?
There is someone in the yishuv that works for Nefesh B'Nefesh. I don't know if she's the contact person for here. I'm not sure on the website, on the Nefesh website, who the contact is for Hashmonaim. But you're more than welcome to contact us. With pleasure, we're happy to answer any questions for you.
Great. Okay. Any questions? Let me look at the chat quickly before we end off. Okay. Do you have to wear masks here? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I actually nearly got a fine the other day, not because I wasn't wearing it, but I was down over here and I was on the phone, and they came and gave me a little bit of a warning. So yes, you do have to wear your masks.
Kim, I see here some questions, medical questions. So we have Kupot Cholim 5 minutes away, both in Modiin and Kiryat Sefer. Kiryat Sefer is 5 minutes away. Modiin is about 10 minutes away. Hospitals, we have Jerusalem. You've got Hadassah and Karim, Hadassah, Har HaTzofim. You've got, I'm forgetting 2 other hospitals in Jerusalem at least. And then there is Tel Aviv. There's Shiba Tel HaShomer. There's so you're close to many hospitals. Not that anyone should need, but we're definitely close to plenty.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. It's been amazing. And I've personally, as I said, been to Hashmonaim. I think it's a wonderful community, very special place, and a melting pot of different types of people, which makes it, I think, you know, very flavorful and a great place to bring up children. And again, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. And thank you, everybody, for coming on. I really, really appreciate everybody's time. And I hope to see you all in Israel.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to stay on if people want to. Let's see if there's any questions.
Thank you so very much for this.
Somebody asking more about the real estate. I will put anybody in contact with our partner broker who lives in Hashmonaim. Again, they're big properties. You're looking at 300 square meters with land around it. So they're very nice sized properties. If that answers the question. Hold on, who came on here now? I will send information on Akiva. Okay. Great. Lisa, I'll respond back to you, okay? Directly. If anybody wants to send me a private message, please do so, kimlbash@gmail.com, or my phone number, which is on the chat as well. Physician's assistant, I'm not sure about that. So the person that we work with in Hashmonaim, her name is Yael, and unfortunately she was supposed to be on the call tonight. She was having technical difficulty. I will send you her contact information. Please send me a private message, kimlbash@gmail.com, or on Facebook, Kim Bash. Rachel, did I cover all the questions? She's on silent.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
It's an absolute pleasure.
That was amazing. I really appreciate all the panelists and everything that everyone does to help people with this process. You should all have many brachas.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay, Lara put up Yael's email. It's yaelwolf22@gmail.com, and Wolf is WOOLF. Okay, and she works with us, so be in contact with her. She has some great properties. And I will see everybody, God willing, next week when we cover Yamim. So I'm going to say good night to everybody. Briana, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. God bless. And there will be a copy of this recording. So if anybody would like to send it to their friends, family, or would like to listen over again to this recording, please feel free to contact me and I will send you a copy of the link. Have a good night, everybody, and have a Shavua Tov, a good week.